You are watching Melody Lane. With me, you're gonna have a great crafting time.
Hi everyone! Thanks for joining me today. It's Holly with Melody Lane Inspired. And I'm coming to you, so we're going to do a couple nautical themed projects. So if you guys seen the last mystery box that came out was a Sailor's Delight mystery box. So I thought it would be delightful if we did some projects in the whole nautical theme. So I did two different projects today. So first, I'll go ahead and show you guys here. This is the first sign we did, and we used vinyl on this sign here. So I'm going to show you how I did this project here, and then we're going to also do one very similar. I'm going to take and use a different anchor, and I'm going to split it and put like the last name in it so you can personalize it. But everything I use on the sign you can find in the Sailor's Delight mystery box. So it's a tutorial, something you could do there. On that one we actually use Everyday Iron-On and the Autopress to finish it off. So first time using the Autopress with wood, and you can do wood on it up to 2 inches thick. So I was super excited to try that. Gives you so many options. So let's get into it, guys. Okay, now we have our design here that we've already designed in Design Space, and all of these images here and the fonts are part of Access too. So if you have Access, you get all of these images for free. If you're not Access, you can sign up for it, or you can also swap out, say the anchor or a font for one that you have also. Since we're all finished designing our sign, we are ready to go ahead and start cutting it out. Here I'm just going to go ahead and put the vinyl down on my sheet and make sure I have it all smoothed down. You can take the scraper too to go ahead and get any bubbles out you see. I like to push any possible bubbles to the edge. Also love to take a brayer to it always. Go ahead and do this in one direction here while you're doing it. You don't want to go back and forth on it because if there's any bubbles, you're just going to push them around in there. Now we're going to load the mat. I prefer to peel mine upside down. I go ahead and take my hand and go along it and then smooth it and then pull up on the mat. But you don't have to do it that way. A lot of people like to do it from the front and then pull their project off. That is also fine. Here is our design here. I just went ahead and pulled the first initial piece off here. So we're going to go ahead and weed the little pieces that are left in there and the letters and such. And grab my handy dandy Cricut weeding tool here, and I'm going to take out those little pieces that are left behind. Go ahead and check out my design there to make sure I see them all. Now, do you notice something missing? I sure do. There it is, guys. There is a little piece of the rope that is missing. I keep my scraps. I looked back on it. I did not see it. So I'm going to show you what I did to get that exact little piece put on the project. Let's look at the design and then see how do we get that one little piece that we need. Now I only need to get to the anchor, so I'm going to go ahead and take and hide my ropes there. Then I'm going to go down to my group here and I'm going to go ahead and detach it. Now once I've went ahead and detached it all, I can go ahead and click on my anchor here And then the way I'm going to be able to get just that one little piece there I need is I'm going to have to go to contour. So I'm going to go to contour, then I can go ahead and hide everything. I'm going to hide all the contours, and then I'm going to go in after I hide them all and just go choose the one little piece I need there. I almost got it. I didn't see the big anchor. But first, I'm going to go ahead and hide the rest of this because I don't need to see this grouping of words there. Now I'm going to go back over to the contour. And I can go ahead and select the anchor. And then once I do that, voila guys, then we are left with just that little teeny tiny piece. So then we can go ahead and cut that out and we'll add that to the design too. Now I got my wee little piece there, so I'm going to go ahead and set that off to the side. I'm going to use some transfer tape on that later on to go ahead and put that onto the design. Now I'm just going to go ahead and finish weeding this design here. There's not much to do, just have some inside of the letters and such. Gonna speed it up a little for us. If only I was that fast at weeding in real life. That'd be like a real superpower. Now to get the vinyl on, we're going to go ahead and use Cricut transfer tape here. So I'm just going to go ahead and figure out how big of a piece I need. Use those handy little guidelines on there and then cut the size that I need. Now we just go ahead and have to separate our transfer tape from the backing here. This sometimes can be the trickiest part. So I don't know, what are your guys' tricks for separating the transfer tape to the back? Now we just got to peel the backing off, and then that's going to give us our clear piece there, and that we are going to use to lay across the top of our vinyl. Now when I do this, you want to make sure you start at one side and go to the other. You want to move directly across it, because if you don't, you can get little bubbles trapped in there, and that bubble's going to transfer with your vinyl. So as you see, we're just going to go ahead and push up on this one side. I'm going to go ahead and take my hand and put pressure moving across it, going in all the same direction. I like to then take and turn it over and then use my scraper to go ahead, and I'm going to push in one direction going across. If there's any little bubbles in it, it can help get it out, but it's also helping to stick it to the transfer tape here. Well, once we have it all on there, then we're going to go ahead and peel the back off of the vinyl there. And then that's why I said to go ahead and keep the backing for the transfer tape, because you're going to go ahead and put the backing on there to go ahead and keep it safe. You could have just left that on if you like and then peeled that off. I just always like to peel it off, make sure all my letters are on there, and then go ahead and put the backing on. Take your time doing this in case any of your letters stick, so you want to pull back kind of slowly and see. I seen there was a little piece that was sticking there. That's why you seen me fold it down. I think it was one of those little pieces there for the rope. And then push down and then go ahead and pull it back slowly, but you want to pull it straight across. For a second I thought, oh no, I lost another piece. But then I realized, yeah, I lost that piece a long time ago. Now so I'm going to take that teeny tiny little piece of rope that I needed. I got my little piece here, and I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over so I can... I got to be careful because the back is sticky, so I'm turning it over, and then I'm going to go ahead and apply that little missing piece of rope in its spot. Just pressing down on it to make sure it sticks well. And there we go. No one will ever know. Except, I mean, all of you guys, because I showed you and I told you. Now you just got to put your backing on there, and then that piece is finished. We don't have to touch it until we are ready to put it on our canvas. Okay, so when it come to cutting the gold pieces, I could have just not attached them and had two separate pieces. I had this idea in my mind. It was going to work great. And I was like, I'll keep them attached and then I can cut out all the extra in the middle except one side, right? So then, because I'm always worried about placing things straight, I'm like, if they're still on the same piece of transfer tape, when I put it down, they'll be straight because they're on one piece. So this was my idea. I got the rope on each side, and then the one side there where my hand is just vinyl. It doesn't have anything cut, but I thought, oh, I can go ahead and pull this off. I'll tell you now, it was not a good idea. It didn't work. I'll never do it again because it's just too flimsy. So you're peeling that off and then you got to get the transfer tape on there just like so and smooth going across. You really can't do it like that. So I go through all this and in the end, I just end up cutting them into the two separate pieces and putting them on by themselves, which was fine. It worked great. Just going through and getting all the weeding done here. I go ahead and I like to use the back of the weeding tool to push down before I go ahead and peel. And when you're working with bigger pieces, it always helps a lot to cut as you go too. So the bigger the piece, the harder it can be to work with some. And then there were some little pieces that were sticking, so I go ahead and go over it with the back there. And with this design, it worked really well. If I had a little piece that was coming up, I could just take the little weeding tool, stick it through the hole, and then it would just hold it down. Time to put our transfer tape on again. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and measure it out. Just peeling the back of the vinyl off here, making sure that all of my material did transfer onto the transfer tape, which it did beautifully. Now, this is the moment right here when I realized this is not gonna work. There's a little bit of a bend in my transfer material there. It's not perfectly straight. So there is no way, even if I went ahead with it, when I laid these on the canvas, they're not gonna be straight. One's gonna be a little off. And then again, we're just putting the back of the transfer paper on. I'm cutting them into the two pieces that they should have always been. Don't be scared to try something though. You didn't know how it worked. Maybe I found a way that I was gonna put them on perfectly straight, you know, space the right amount of space between them, not have to worry about it. But that's why you try things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Now I just like to go ahead and lay out my design on my canvas. Here my canvas is, it's a whitewashed wood blank. I did get it from Amazon, so I will go ahead and put the links for that below also. It was a 2-pack of them. This I just do for my visual. That way I know when I'm ready to take it off about how far I want something from the top, how far over, and such. Once I have a good idea of where everything will lay, then I go ahead and start peeling the back off of my transfer tape, and then I'm just going to go ahead and lay them down. Okay, so it's time to finally lay our first piece. Does anybody find this as nerve-wracking as me? What I'm doing here is I'm constantly looking, I'm looking side to side. Do I have the same space side to side? Is my rope about the same space down on each side? That's why I really take a second to go ahead and get it what I think is straight. I mean, after I second guess myself about 10 times, I'm not gonna lie. Like, is it straight? Is it not straight? I think it's straight. It might not be straight. It looks straight. Anybody else go through the same thing? Time to peel it back. Again, go ahead and do this slow. You want to make sure that each of those little pieces is sticking down. So if you want, I always like to go ahead and rub over it with like the scraper before I go ahead and start peeling up. And then if you do find a little piece that sticks, just go ahead, push that transfer tape down and go ahead and rub it, and that usually does it. That went on beautifully. So now we're just going to do the exact same thing to the next two pieces. I'm going to go ahead and use some little magic here and speed us up. Gonna go ahead and make sure my letters are pressed down there, and then I'm gonna go ahead and slowly peel it across. All right, so that's it. Our first sign is done, guys. This was done all with Cricut vinyl here. Well, what do you guys think? I love it. The whole anchor theme's very in the nautical. My whole brother's house is beached now that he got in the villages, and he said he needs lots of pictures. So I was like, I got you. So we are on to our next project now. So this is a project that I'm going to use items that were in the Sailor's Delight mystery box, and then we're also going to use the Autopress to go ahead and press the iron onto the wood. First thing I want to do to this is I want to go ahead and go over to your shapes. I'm just going to grab a free square there. And then my goal here is to slice it. I'm going to slice the anchor where I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the square down over the anchor. If you like to make it another color so you can see it better, you can absolutely do that. I should have done that just so you could see it easier. Alright, I just wanted to go ahead and put my grid lines on there. If you weren't aware of how to see the grid lines and turn them on or off, it's the little square right between the 0 and the 0. I'm going to go ahead and click on my square, then I'm going to hold shift and then click on my anchor, and then I'm going to go ahead and click slice. And there we go. Now we can go ahead and delete the pieces we don't need. And then we can go ahead and pull those apart. And then that's where we're going to put the lines in and put the last name in. To make I call them bars. I don't know what they are. They're just lines, basically. So to get the lines that I'm going to have on the top and the bottom there of the opening, I'm just going to go ahead and take a square. I've went ahead and unlocked it so I can go ahead and stretch it. Now, if you don't know where the unlock is now, it is not on the box as you stretch and pull the object. It's up at the top right there that I had just circled. You go ahead and unlock it, and that allows you to go ahead and stretch it and elongate it. Now, once you get that to the perfect size you want, go ahead and duplicate it. That way you have two of the exact same length of pieces. Now I'm going to want to weld those new pieces to each other, but I like to go ahead and zoom in first. That way I can make sure they are actually touching, because it's hard to see when they're small, but if you zoom in you can see if there's a tiny gap between them. So then I just went and selected each piece I needed to weld, held shift so I can do both of them, and then go ahead and choose weld. Now that you welded those, they're two separate pieces, but you can go ahead and attach the middle name that you want to in the middle. Here you're going to go ahead and type your name in. You can go ahead and choose whatever font calls out to you or looks good to you for the occasion. And then you can go ahead and stretch it out. Here I'm playing with the letter spacing. The letters were a little too close together, so I go ahead and play with that. Now I did make 2 of these anchors. One, the bars are a little longer, and the other one shorter. That way if you had a smaller last name, it would fit good versus a longer last name. Once you get it just how you like it, go ahead and take and drag your mouse over all the pieces you want to have as a single piece, and then you can go ahead and attach those. Now let's get into weeding this. The thing I like about iron-on is you don't have to put any transfer tape on it. All you have to do is get the backing off, and then that's it. There's no transferring of anything except transferring it onto whatever your canvas is. Use our little magic and speed this up again. Turn it over and give it a look. I always like to make sure here I didn't miss little pieces in any of the letters or anywhere. Looks good to me, so I'm going to go ahead and set that to the side, and then we're going to go ahead and start on the rope pieces. I'm just being cautious to make sure each one of those little pieces is stuck down as I pull. That piece looks good. We're going to do the exact same thing to the other piece. This design weeded beautifully. Now that we finished all the weeding, it is time to get our Cricut Autopress over here and start to heat it up. So on the side there, before you can heat it up, you are going to have to open it up. So what you see me push right here is the open button, and it'll go ahead and open automatically. And then you can turn it on. It's not going to start to heat up until you have opened the press. Now I'm just turning it on. To get the Cricut Heat Guide, just go ahead and Google Cricut Heat Guide. Click on it there, and that will pull it up. Now you can go ahead and slide over to what machine you have. Here we have the Autopress. So we're going to go ahead and choose that one. And then it's having us choose our transfer material, which we are using everyday iron-on. And then for our base material, we're going to go ahead and choose wood. Once we choose that, it's going to let us know, oh, but first, you do have to hit Cricut Pressing Mat. If you don't hit that button first, it will not let you apply. Once you apply that, it's going to go ahead and show you how long you have to press it and the temperature for that. It's also going to tell you what all materials do you need to complete the project, and then it's going to give you step-by-step instructions, which is awesome to just have that in the palm of your hand while you're doing the project. Now that we got our temp and time set, we just got to go ahead and wait for it to heat up. Now I'm putting my wood canvas on the pressing plate here, and it says to go ahead and pre-warm it for 5 seconds, so that's what I'm going to do. It does not tell you have to cover your wood. However, this is finished and it's painted, so just to protect it, because I'm not sure how it would react, I'm just going ahead and using some of that butcher paper that comes in the infusible ink to just go ahead and protect it from possibly burning or scorching. After the 5 seconds for the preheating is up, it go ahead and it opens all on its own. So make sure you're backing out of the way there. Seeing it kind of hit the camera there. And now that it's all preheated, I'm going to go ahead and lay out my design on there. You want to be careful when you're doing this that the transfer is not overlapping on any of them. So do pay close attention to that. Once it looks good, I'm just covering it with that butcher paper to protect it. You could also use a Teflon sheet. It also may be perfectly fine, but I just didn't want to risk it with it being finished and painted. So now we are all set. We're going to go ahead and push the top down. All we have to use for this is 2 fingers to engage it. Once you push it down, you will hear it engage, you will hear the fans blowing, and it will go ahead and start your timer. Once that timer's done, it's going to go ahead and open up. Now with iron-on, you do want to make sure it cools before you lift it, so we're going to go ahead and just let this sit here and cool. Now that it's cooled, I'm just going ahead and peeling the plastic off. Now that it's cool to the touch, you can go ahead and pull all the plastic off of there. You want to make sure and do it slowly and make sure it did transfer. If not, you may need to hit it with a little more heat. You could use the Autopress. You could also use the mini press if you had the mini press and you had a letter that didn't stick. That's perfect for those kind of things. And there they are, guys. That is both finished signs side by side. That was a tongue twister. I had to say that a few times. The one on the left was done with all vinyl, and then the one on the right was done with the iron-on. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer vinyl? Do you prefer iron-on? Have you not thought of doing iron-on maybe on wood before? It opens a whole bunch of things you can do. And I did notice I was missing a little piece of my gold rope there. So I'm going to go ahead later and I'm going to do the same thing I did with the other one. I'm going to go ahead and contour it, and then I can cut just that piece of rope that I need. There is the finished project with the iron-on. The iron-on that was in the Sailor's Delight mystery box. So in this we used the navy iron-on and the gold. The navy is a dark navy. And we went ahead and used the Autopress to press it, which made it nice and easy. So here's our 2 projects. I hope you guys had fun learning with me today. I showed you where I messed up, because that's where the best learning comes from. I kind of switch things up. I teach you along the way. Could I edit those out? Absolutely. I could act like everything went perfect. But in reality, no. Show you normal things that can go wrong and how to get through them. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for joining us. It's always appreciated. I hope you learned something today. I always learn something, even when you think you know it all, and then something happens, you'll learn a way around it and how to fix it. So, and that's how we get better. So don't be afraid to try it. Try something new. I tried something new today. Did it work out? Not really, but what I found out is okay. Let's not do it that way. The other way worked. I always like to share my good ideas and my not so good ideas. Sometimes they sound great until you try to do them, and then you realize that wasn't really a great idea. But thank you guys for coming along. Below in the comments, well, not in the comments, but in the description of the video, enter the Melody Lane giveaway, because that Autopress I just used, that thing is $1,000, and we are giving one away. And the contest ends August 27th or 28th. I'm not sure, but you still have time. So go ahead and enter below, guys. So thank you guys for watching. It's always appreciated. Thank you to all our supporters, our sponsors, our wonderful admin team. You guys are great, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. All right, see you next time, guys. Bye.